Welcome to Field Notes Transformation. I'm Tara Moreno. This is where we explore the science and the soul of what I call the unbecoming, the place where old identities fall away and something truer emerges. I've walked through collapse, addiction, codependency, and trauma, and each time, instead of breaking, I cracked open, and what emerged was healing, more nervous system regulation, a deeper awareness, and a spiritual awakening that rewrote my entire life from the inside out. Today, I work with leaders, practitioners, and seekers who are ready to shed who they've been and step into who they truly are. This is the messy, sacred middle. No masks, no bypassing, just truth, lived in the body, spoken from the heart. If you feel lost, take a breath. You are not broken, you are transforming. Welcome to the liminal. Let's begin. I'm super excited for this episode. Honesty Liller has been in recovery from substance use disorders since May 7th, 2007, and she's a certified peer recovery specialist in Virginia and serves as the CEO of the McShin Foundation. It's a nationally accredited peer-to-peer recovery community organization that supports individuals and families impacted by substance use disorders. A She Recovers professional, Honesty facilitates a monthly support group for women and non-binary individuals, creating inclusive spaces for healing and growth. In 2025, she founded Honesty Liller Coaching, LLC, where she provides transformational and leadership coaching to women, empowering them to build confidence, step into their power, and lead with authenticity. I really love this episode, and I think you're going to love Honesty too. I hope you enjoy. All right. I'm so excited to have Honesty on today. And Honesty and I met at In the Herd.
Get in the Herd, yeah, podcast. That makes sense. Yep.
Get in the Herd podcast. And when I met you, it was really this connection, and I felt like you were down to earth, and I really, really respect the work that you're doing. So I'm so glad to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm all, you're an authentic chick like me. I love meeting people all over the country and the world, honestly. So yeah, anything that I can do for a great conversation, I'm in.
Awesome. So with this podcast, what I like to focus on is that rupture and kind of how you were able to, and I'm sure you have many, as anyone in a leadership position, we go through these times in our lives that are meant to be lessons and not meant to be lived there, but to transcend or transform from that state. So tell me about, in terms of leadership, so I know you're in recovery too, and, you probably have a lot of stuff that's very old, because I know you've been in recovery for how long now?
This past Wednesday, 19 years.
Yes, and congratulations on that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, time does fly, but yeah, so in terms of your leadership, because getting rid of the substances is just the very, very, very first step into so many other things that we as humans experience. So tell me about times in your life, like relating to your leadership, that you had a rupture that you grew from.
I'd have to say being a female leader is number one. I've definitely had many challenges in this space. I've been a CEO of the nonprofit that helped to save my life for almost 14 years, and I've been employed here for about 18 and a half years since I went through the program. So throughout my career, number one, I never had a college education. I started using drugs when I was 12 and didn't stop till I was 26. So college was never in the picture for me because I was full-blown addicted to opiates. So like lack of education, imposter syndrome, but really the biggest was being a female leader, or still being in this space, like the recovery SUD space. The women leaders are rising and have been for the past like 6, 7, 8 years. But in the earlier days, it was a lot of male dominant, presence nationally in our field. And I still had little honesty inside of me of the childhood trauma and the trauma that I went through in my active addiction. So I never spoke up for myself in certain rooms, certain situations. I kind of just went with the flow, even though I didn't agree with stuff. because I didn't know where my voice was. And it took me a long time, even though I was in recovery and I worked through all that stuff in therapy and everything. As a leader, I felt like I couldn't be the best leader I could be until I started speaking up more and standing up what I felt was right for my morals and my values. And that was a pretty pivotal point in my career of, I don't think we should be doing this. So really using no and understanding that no isn't a bad thing, it's a full sentence. And understanding that I am smart enough, I am good enough. I've got so many skills. I've self-taught mentors, previous board members, classes online, like just really building my brain cells back, honestly, because I started using pretty hard drugs at such a young age. So being able to have a voice and actually use it was really a pivotal moment for me. And that happened probably about, I'm 18 and a half years, probably about 10, 12 years ago is really when I started speaking up more and having ideas and not just writing them down or keeping them to myself. Like these were good ideas, these changes needed to be made within the organization in order for us to evolve and grow. And honestly, in my household with my husband, it took me years to communicate with him, like really understand, that my children, you're a leader everywhere that you go, whether you see it or not. I mean, that's what I believe. I'm a leader in my household with raising my kids. I'm a leader here. I'm a leader in my own business. I'm a leader in the community. And so it's a lot of pressure too, because you're stamped, this woman in recovery, long-term recovery leader, CEO, business owner, blah, blah, blah. But I love it. I mean, it did take a lot of time to understand who honesty really was. And that started with really coming out of my shell and speaking up for change and kind of speaking up in general, just, instead of just going with the flow. Cause I didn't want people to get mad at me because I was raised in an environment, I didn't feel so much love. I know my parents love me, but I didn't feel it. And there's no fault of them, my addiction or anything. It's just, I wanted people to like me when I got into recovery. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to have mentors and all of this. So I kind of went with the flow until I really started working on my soul. And I was like, wait a second, no, I'm not doing this anymore, And speaking up for those that have come behind me. So I've been a big advocate specifically for the women that are employed here as well and made changes in policies and everything like that because I wasn't awarded those or whatever, So it's important as a leader to make changes for the people that come behind you as well.
So tell me about some instances where, because using your voice is something that women, we've been, and like you said, have been conditioned to stay meek, to be nice, right? To be,
Yeah.
So tell me, when you started using your voice and you started to really step into your power, did you get some pushback?
Oh, hell yeah. For me, the founder of the organization is amazing, great. Mick Shen has been awesome. But definitely we are different personalities, he's a Marine, former Marine, or you're always a Marine, I guess. And just, I had issues, from my childhood. So he was kind of also like a father figure to me when he wasn't supposed to be because he's my boss. So it was like all of this kind of intertwined. And then, when you work in a recovery community organization, you're like family because everyone's in recovery. So yeah, totally, totally, totally. In different areas and arenas, policy, I do a ton of that still here, and advocacy levels, especially my age, because I started working here when I was like 27. I came through the organization when I was 26. So I was young. And even now today I'm 45, and sometimes I'm in rooms and people think like I'm like this, they call me girl, and I'm like, I'm not a girl, I am a woman. So anyway, so yes, definitely butted heads for sure. And some of that's in my book and kind of how we work through all that with me and the co-founder. But, and it wasn't just in my career here, it's more of society as a whole. Like, I would be in rooms speaking up and I see men just looking right through me, like legit. I'm really good at intuition. I'm good at humans. And I'll be like, man, this, this, because you could feel it. You can talk all day and try to advocate for change, but some rooms and some people still aren't listening to women. It just is the nature of the beast in certain arenas and how they were raised. So it's how their generation was and passed on. So I have to be open-minded to all of that everyone isn't equal. That's the reality of the world that we live in. So yeah, the pushback, definitely led to fighting and not physical ever, but I wanted to, but it's definitely led to arguments, inner turmoil within organizations, within committees I've been on, within advocacy, as well, even in my home for sure. Like my husband never really has shut me down because I don't think he would have the nerve, but we've been together 20 years now. We met in rehab actually before I came through McShin, but once, I learned how to communicate with him because it took me a long time, honestly, in our marriage to really understand what communication was as a woman, as a wife, as a mom. And that was more embraced in my household because we went through some rocky stuff for sure. But once we both figured out like this is our life and we should be grateful that we have one another. Now after that, our whole life has changed tremendously. So that's been a very supportive environment for me. Is the male dominant figure? He's my best friend, so that's been beautiful. But yeah, so some pushback for sure, and I've had to learn from it. I've had to also when I started coming into my own and speaking up, I was probably speaking up a little too much, and I'm a very authentic chick, and I didn't ever mean to hurt people's feelings I'm not that is not my jam or the human I am. But once you get, especially in advocacy, and when you get in advocacy and then you're a woman, you're like, I'm a slight feminist. I admit to it, and I'm not ashamed of it or afraid of it or anything because I know it's needed. I know we need women like us out there advocating, not just for the SUD space, but, rights and everything else for women, right? So that's gotten me into some jams of I'm a woman, hear me roar. And I would just speak up sometimes because I wanted to be heard or my ego got in the way. I've had all that stuff go through me because it's I have a substance use disorder and that's natural. You want more and you want to be heard. Once I started getting that voice, I wanted to be heard more. I never really walked into situations where I wanted to argue with people. There's a lot of people that I still don't like that I feel aren't good humans. So I have boundaries now that I try not to be in the same rooms with them. And I do a really good job at that, but that took me years to adopt and figure out. But I have had challenges with myself. I don't really want to say failures. I have fallen in certain arenas and just got exhausted and burned out because I felt like I had all this on my shoulders as a female leader in this space and within this organization. And it's I need to break. I've experienced a ton of burnout throughout my career, and it's because I just want to constantly help and save and make policy change and all of that too. So I have also, it's been a detriment to areas and pieces of my life as well once I did find my voice.
So you mentioned being in rooms with people you do not like. And I think one is that people, especially in early recovery, still working on themselves, need to understand that we are not going to like everybody and that's okay. Right? So to be able to, be in that space and be in those feelings essentially, because that's what it evokes is when you're
I get feelings.
So tell me about though, and you had mentioned, and we had crossed paths again. I think it was one of these the leadership advisory board that we're both on together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had mentioned that you had something last year with women, and what really interests me is women that don't support other women, and that they're very intimidated by women with power, so intimidated that they project a lot of stuff onto us, And I feel like that is probably the worst part of society that we're dealing with rather than men. Like
Mm-hmm.
men, whatever, but like these women that either
Mm-hmm.
support toxic men or that are very, hateful and,
Mm-hmm.
try to drag people, other women down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Like, I'm not a perfect woman or wife, mom, CEO, whatever, right? But I'm not here to like argue or judge you. Like, if you want to go start a business, go start a business. Like, if you're harming someone, if you're, hurting your children, something, and you're close to me, I am speaking up and something is going to happen. Like, I protect my people. But the reality, what I have seen, especially on social media, it's just like, it's hard to explain. I'm sure you've experienced it, but like once you get into a position where you're a female leader, you're doing your own thing, it's like number one, it's like, oh, what do I put? For me, I've experienced this a lot of like, what do I post? What do I not post? I don't want to get in trouble here. I don't want to get blah, 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 which I don't ever post anything too wild anyway, but it's the women. A few have blocked, a few have like said negative things to me on social media. I'm just like, what the hell is this? What is she even talking about? But then you get in your feet, like, I have been personally sucked into like, why would she say that about me? And I'm just like, my mentors and people that have been doing this longer, especially in the coaching business, is like, you got to knock those out. Like, and I have men and women mentors. And so I block people all the time. I just disengage, like whatever. Like I don't have time for that. I'm here to have fun, to help women. My main two goals: save lives, in my social media space, but it's really in rooms I walk in. I can feel it sometimes. I can spot fake all day long. Like, hey, how are you? And I'm
I
just like,
know.
you can just feel the energy. So I give it right back. I'm doing great. Or I tell people now, like this chapter of my life, I'm 45, and like I am not. So when people ask me, especially people close to me, like, are you good? I'm like, no, I'm not. And this is why. And I used to say good forever. And I just don't do that anymore. But it's important to understand, like, we should be rising, each other up. Like, it is wild, some of the stuff that I do read, which I don't read other people's comments much. I mean, definitely like these poor celebrities, these women, they get attacked all the time. Like, I am not a celebrity by any means, so I don't get what they get. But I've also seen bots, like there's fake accounts, I think, out there and all of that stuff. And frankly, I mean, they're jealous. I mean, I think they're either jealous or there's something going on in their life that they hate, or they see something in me that they wish they had. And I have compared myself to some of my closest friends in the world, women, of like, Dad, how in the hell, her husband has tons of money and they're doing this and this, like, or whatever, but just like that comparison, I'm just like, as a human, you got to kind of take a step back and be like, this is the only life that you get. Like, do you want to be comparing yourself to other people? Which, I mean, I'm 98% cured of that right now, dead honest. And then why in the hell are you on social, like, or wherever, in rooms or talking behind people's back or whatever you do? I just feel we would be more successful as a society if we started rising up and helping one another. Like, even I was sharing with one of my mentors last night. He's an awesome coach. He's been mentoring me for free for a long time. And I was saying, like, it takes 2 seconds for your friends to click on something and share it on their social media, and they don't do it. I've just never understood that. I share all kinds of stuff for people. So it's like those little things still hurt me, even though I just need to move on with my life. I just feel like it's wild when someone that you love is like trying to grow a business and it's like you don't even share anything. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know why people don't support, especially women. But on the other end of it, I got so many awesome women in my life that do support me. I'm a member of all kinds of new women's group. My goal for 2026 was making new high vibe friends, and I am doing it. So it's like I have to make changes in my life too in order to fill my soul.
Yeah, no, absolutely all of that. So I too am after that massive rupture that happened at Serenity House last year, it really showed me the type of people I want to associate with rather than, the people I don't want to
Sure.
associate with. It was this stark contrast of, okay, so that, that fake energy, that, inauthenticity, that, can't speak your truth, completely still suffering. And I see it a trauma, like it was just massive trauma, just the inability to be able to heal it. And then me getting in the crossfires of it because I have been in recovery too for quite some time and had been healing for quite some time. So with that, being with people that do support and women that, because I hear the voice too, it's like, oh, how did she do that? Like, what are they doing different than I'm doing? And I'm like, I'm aware of it though. And it's like, oh, that is not who I am. Like, I am not that person or that woman. But I have other women like that in my life that we are starting a new nonprofit, a new recovery community organization. So that is kind of like, yeah. So it's this kind of like interesting thing of how healing is really a spiral, and you keep returning to parts of yourself that no,
That, this one right here heals me all the time. Bob Marley. Like, no matter what I'm going through, if I throw on Bob, my life, like, I'm so grateful to be on the planet at the same time as you. Just FYI, like, I just think you're the most amazing human, woman, badass. So it's like we gotta like feel that. So like you have a trajectory of your life, right? And we can't predict the future ever. But if you constantly are healing, like I'm a big believer of healers heal people. I am so over hurt people hurt people. Get yourself together. Like there's so many ways to heal yourself. It is an excuse. It's a cop out. I do not believe in that saying ever. But it's like, it's never ending. It doesn't mean it's like I'm forever healing from my trauma. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I'm healing from adverse situations that have happened in my life, even, a month ago, right? So it's like we have to really take a look at what we want out of life, what aligns with our values, what aligns with our time, and our time is our biggest currency. I share that all the time, and people like kind of look at me. I'm like, but then they're feeling it. They're like, damn, she's right. Like, no matter what type of paycheck you get, it's like, this is your time on this planet, right? And I didn't understand that. I was this, especially in early recovery and early in my career, I'm just like go, 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 and crash and burn and go, 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 and crash and burn. And it's like now in this season and chapter of my life, I'm really understanding more of the woman that I am, the woman that I want to be. It should be evolution in general. I do believe humans are meant to evolve no matter what, not be stuck in the mindsets of they were 20 years ago. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and to grow, that is what we are here for, is to grow and not stay stuck. And I'm looking for people who want to grow as well. So I wanted to ask you, so you mentioned so some of like our character defects, right? So we both are kind of rooted in a 12-step community too, although we do multiple pathways, support multiple pathways. But one of mine is I tend to be very direct. Like I don't beat around the bush. And a lot of my directness seems to trigger people because, do you have experience with that as well? Because
The name like honesty, it's a little brutally honest sometimes. It depends on the situation. Like as a leader, you have to give directives, you have to be direct sometimes, but it depends on the human that's in front of me, right? So if I feel like I'm too abrasive, like my team can say, I didn't like how that was delivered to me. So it's like we have to also keep learning as human beings of like, okay, now I know that she doesn't like this topic. I know that the strengths of this one is over here. I used to be so bad at it. Like, I didn't know what I was doing around here. Like, we were a baby organization. I was taught by someone that's old school, 12 step, all of that. I was in 12 step. I left that about 6 years ago, and I've been doing She Recovers since, which is my jam. And it's just part of my patchwork now. And I love it, and exercise and all of that. But back in the early days, I was barking orders, do this because I was so scared I was going to get in trouble or something was going to get messed up. And that is legit the truth. And as I've gotten older, and especially being in the same organization for so long, it's like delegation is my middle name and I love it. Also, the respect I get as the leader here is phenomenal. Like, I can't tell you how many texts and like conversations. It makes me feel really good. Like, I know I'm a good leader. So it just depends on the individual or the situation, because like if we have to put out a fire really quick, we got to do that. So it just depends on the situation. I'm a assertive, like a pink pit bull type situation where I'm going to fight for what is right, but I'm also going to do it in a kind, loving, human way. I try to really learn from the people around me that are possibly even smarter than me. I know so many people, even here, there's people here that are smarter than me. I just have to listen and be open-minded, and that's what a good leader is.
You talk about accountability, and I love that. And that is what the 12-step program, one thing that I really still use and I respect of that program, but I am like you too. I use lifting weights and other ways to recover.
Yeah.
So tell me about like accountability and how that works in your life and how, you show up.
Sure. I mean, I believe I'm accountable to so many levels every single day of my life. Like, I know we have to take rest and take care of ourselves, which I do. So I show up every day. I wake up at 5 a.m. and most weekends too. So my body is in a rhythm that I love. I go to bed every night by 8:30. And because this is accountability to my soul. And if my soul isn't doing well, then everything else isn't going to be. So I go to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. I get up at 5 a.m. I drink my coffee and I color every morning. Some mornings I don't. I sit in my bed with my dogs and watch Seinfeld or something funny. But I color every morning. I read the She Recovers by Dawn Nickel every morning. And I do there's an awesome one called For Women Who Do Too Much is an awesome daily devotional practice too. And then I journal a little and then I exercise every day, even rest days. I walk my dogs. So all of that is important to me. Those first couple hours are really important to me in the morning. I don't doom scroll, I don't do any of that. And then I come here or start checking my emails at home, depending on I do a lot of Zooms and meetings and stuff. So that shows accountability to myself. I lift heavy weights now. I do a whole nutrition plan that I love. So all of that, but accountability here, being a CEO of a nonprofit is so hard. It is very difficult, but I have to show up. I have to write grants. I have to raise money. I have to cultivate donors. I have to do policy. Like, you have to do all of these things in order to move your mission forward. I have to show up to the best that I do on a day-to-day basis here. Right now I'm running a business. I am a mom, a wife, my daughter's in college. My son today's his last day of sophomore year in high school. I'm running this place. I'm a dog mom. I think that's the scary part or the down part of being a leader and being, on social media and all of that. It's like that, the accountability that you have to kind of always remember in the back of my head, like, I'm the CEO of this organization, and I've drilled that in my brain. I'm not going to be doing things to harm the organization because this is a very special place to me.
So how big is Miction anyway?
Right now, we're getting ready to do our budget. So about 2.8 million is our budget. We have 14 recovery houses. We have one of the only, which is my favorite, only women and children's recovery house. It's named after my daughter. It's called Destiny House. We've had that for 3 years. So we have babies. We have 3 jail programs. So we're delivering peer recovery support services in 3 jails. We have 23 full-time staff and then part-time interns, AmeriCorps sprinkled in as well. We've been around, July will be 22 years. And I've been here officially staffed 18 and a half. I think we're medium size. Yeah, RCOs. We do a lot of RCOs, don't do the housing plus the jail programs plus the peer work plus the recovery center that's here. We've been here for 21 years in this building.
Okay. Now tell me about your business coaching.
Oh, yeah. So speaking of going through stuff and seasons of your life, so like last year, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. As far as like, oh man, just this like nonprofit life and in the constant, like I don't have many wrinkles at all, but they're coming. But like the constant of writing grants and the pressure of making sure your team is taken care of and making sure money's coming in and you're bored, and all of that is just like I've been doing this forever. This is all I've known. I've never worked anywhere this long in my life, and I've been here ever since I went through the housing, so I've never left. So I just kind of like was either leave here or start something different. So I've been sober recovery coaching for over a decade longer. So I have met so many women throughout my travels, throughout social media, that are just stuck in their life. They're stuck in a job, they're stuck in low self-esteem, they're stuck in their health journey or their wellness journey, whatever, marriages, all of that stuff, right? So especially age 40 plus, it's like, okay, you went to college, you've had the same job, now you're like, you wake up one day and you look around like, what the hell is my life, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm a natural born coach. I do it all the time. I'm mentoring people I've been doing for years. And I'm like, I want to start my own business. So I started Honesty Liller Coaching, LLC. It's been 1 year. So I'm actually getting ready to do a post about that. So I coach women. It's all Zoom, so I can do women all over the world. And I'm a confidence builder. I am teaching them how to love themselves. I'm teaching them how to build the confidence that they deserve and creating daily habits. The stuff that you do, the stuff that I do, creating daily habits in order to get their big goal, which they've all accomplished, but also a lifestyle change. So like, the 28 days, or like, I want to lose 10 pounds, and then you lose the 10 pounds and you go back to the way that you were eating. Like, this is a longevity of life. So like recovery, what me and you've been taught is like, okay, you don't use drugs and alcohol anymore. At least that's my jam, and I'm abstinence-based. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do after that? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I completed recovery housing, I started working here, but then what do I do? And it took me years to figure out like what season I'm in right now as far as wellness and health. I love it. So other women deserve that. They deserve to be able to live a life that they just want, So that's been awesome. I do group coaching. I'm really going to switch some gears and start doing more like classes and workshops. I'm a public speaker, so I do that as well. I haven't really done it really for this business, but I've been speaking on stages for years for recovery. That's where I'm stuck because I'm trying to put the recovery piece over here. I don't want to always be identified as a woman in recovery, and people like, like clutching their pearls in the space, when I say that, in our space at least, because I do respect it and I'll always fight for it till the day I die. No question, especially the women and moms in this space. But as Honesty Liller, I don't want to always be the woman. My first sentence that I tell everyone is like, I'm a woman in recovery for 19 since May 20. Love it, love it, love it, and I live it. It's just I'm so much more than that. So I teach women how to understand the humans that they are, and it's been pretty cool.
I hit 10 years at Serenity House, and I was at the end, though, I was so where you were, just kind of like the pressure and the revolving door of the same problem I couldn't figure out, and then the board stuff and the lack of support, and it was just this long list. And my health started to suffer. I was anemic. I had all these, these problems that I started dealing with the last 2 years. So when I left and I started Green Terra, well, I had Green Terra Holistics. I had started that like you have with, to have something for you. Because that nonprofit, I mean, it's a gift to the community. No one really owns it. It's and I wanted to put my trainings and put my coaching. And when I left, Green Terra took off and I started doing bigger contracts, doing, the things that I adore too, which is like the holistic piece, like real holistic. Like Serenity House tried to do holistic, but it failed over and over again. I think it's such a deeper kind of healing that people in early recovery, it's just not time for that for most people. This is like, as we have done later in our recovery, after we have a lot of time, it's like, all right, we're ready to peel back the layers. We're ready to go deeper into our recovery and to the discipline, because it takes an enormous amount of discipline to be able to elevate yourself to where you want to be, your kind of dream life, you know what I'm saying? And I too have, I've got a good husband, we live on the lake, we've got these material things, he has a really good job, all of these things. But back to Green Tarot Holistics, when I started channeling that energy, and it was so beautiful because it was like it started to open up. And it was like, and I didn't lose anything. I actually gained because I was doing the inner work, though. I was sitting with that rupture. I was sitting with that grief that I experienced. Because even though my body was saying, hey, we got to do something different, my mind was still like, oh my gosh, like what a massive, like, loss, a grief, spending that much time and the way it happened, the separation though. And that was like the defining factor in a lot of those feelings, which turned out to be a gift for me because I was able to transmute and transform. And now, and let me just say, so Green Tarot Holistic still, so we've got multiple major contracts in Michigan doing like yoga in the treatment centers, doing SUD conferences. We've been doing that for quite some time. And then I'm working with New Jersey peers and doing stuff with them. But once I was able to kind of refocus or cleanse my lens, if you will, when this opportunity to start a new nonprofit came up, it's like, that's where I'm also gifted. But how can I build this and not be the executive director? How
Yeah.
because I can build a nonprofit like the back of
And
my.
one, you have the experience, like we have the experience, like the experience that my brain has is epic. Like I've
Epic.
changed this organization with the team and the board and everything. I mean, it's wild where McShin was to where it is today.
Yeah. So yes, I'm structuring this nonprofit in a way that, I'll always be the founder no matter what. Structurally, that's how I created it, and director of strategy, meaning that I'm doing all the stuff I'm really good at, putting people together, looking for the grants with the grant writer. So I'm not like doing like that whole thing that the executive director does, because the weight that I remember being on my shoulders was so heavy. And no matter what I did, I couldn't release it. And it was like, so now I'm getting creative with my skill set. And, if I don't want to be director of strategy anymore, I can be a consultant, and then they can use me, as Green Terra continues to grow. So, I have this thing I can put my nonprofit energy in, but it's not going to be as in depth or as much as what Serenity House was. So it's super exciting. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Just,
Yeah, that's like my dream too, I think. I don't know. I definitely, I hear you and I feel you. My face is turning red just listening to you because it's like she's talking to my soul. This work isn't for the weak for sure. And yeah, as women also, it's like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this for 20 more years for retirement. I'm going to say this I don't want to do this for 20 more years. So these are like decisions, and I believe in God and spirit, and I talk to spirit. I manifest every day. I talk to God every day, and pray and all of that. I put stuff out in the universe because I'm just a big believer in all of that stuff too. But I think we just have to make decisions, and sometimes the decisions are made for us, and it's like it sucks, and we have to walk through the pain. I've walked through so much pain here. I've cried a lot here in this building, blood, sweat, and tears, and it's just like you get to a point where it's like you need to find your path, and which road are you going to go down that continually where you can make some changes or go completely opposite and just leave, and I'm not at the just leave because I love it here. I love so many levels of it. I don't like some of the stuff that I'm still doing as a CEO. So we're trying to figure that out strategically because I shouldn't be doing some of the stuff that I'm still doing. We got to make decisions on a day-to-day basis, and it sounds like for you, your whole life has changed because of that decision. And I'm so happy for you. Like we're meant to be happy, not run into the ground.
Exactly. And I'll just tell you, one of the things that kept me was what I was making. Because at the end, I was
Mhm.
making pretty good money and it was a
Mhm.
consistent paycheck. So it was like, can I go back to gig work? So gig work was kind of what I was, doing before because I was a photographer and I did, some modeling earlier.
Mhm.
So it was like always a gig work, and it was like go and you kind of go back when you do your own business, you're doing because you're paying your taxes into the state and the federal. So you have to set that aside as you get a $10,000 contract, you're putting 3,000 of it into taxes.
Mhm.
It's a level of responsibility, but also there's a level of freedom. And it's
Mhm.
like you are not like you have choice and you're also dealing with people who are like on the same level as you are because you're working with contractors that you respect what they do and their businesses
Mhm.
and there's more freedom in that relationship because you're not dealing with employees and you're not dealing with like are you doing delegating and are you doing your job and how are you doing it.
You are the employee. So are you talking to yourself in the mirror like, let's go, bitch. What are you doing? And then you can talk to, you don't have to get written up by HR. You can talk to yourself however you want to. I mean, that's what I do when I work out. I'm like, let's go, bitch. Like,
Yes, let's go, bitch, for
I
sure.
know, I do. I coach myself on a day-to-day basis in all levels, and I can't forget that. I can't just be the monotony because I've lived through that monotony of here and there and wherever, and it's like you got to continually coach yourself to be the human that you want to be, and I do it. I did it today. I was lifting. I did chest and back, and I'm just like doing Arnold presses, and I'm like, you're supposed. I do it until I'm shaking, and I'm just like go it. Like, you got one more. And you got to scream. And I was listening to a podcast about how much better you lift weights and harder when you yell and cuss at yourself. So I was like,
Oh,
that's right. Yeah. Yep.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna have to use that one. No, women that lift weights, and I'll tell you too, is that so I go to Powerhouse here in Fenton and then the Health Club in Grand Blanc, which
Mm-hmm.
is more of like it's not as intense. You go to Powerhouse, and I mean, you're getting like, the muscle of the muscle. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I love, and we talked about being women and women, and there's more women that are lifting weights, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still male dominated. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's
Yeah.
great. And I saw the video on Facebook about, women walking up to the free weights, right? And how they walk up with like basically a super, a cape on.
Hmm. Oh, hell yeah. I got a small, tiny little room that's my gym, meditation, and office. And I work out at home. I just ordered a pull-up bar. My goal in the next 3 months, because I don't even know the last time I've done a pull-up. So I should be there on my porch today. So I'm just, making slow change. I love it. I don't do it because, oh, I gotta do it. And hell no, I'm gonna live longer. My whole body and mind, mental, everything has changed. So I'm ready to like live longer.
Yeah, no, it's that is definitely the trend that, women our age, because I'll be 49 this year. So,
Mhm,
that perimenopausal and our bones, but that
mhm,
muscle is the best protector towards longevity. And
mhm.
I am in the same school of thought. Part of my daily habit, it's
Yep.
my routine. And it's like, if I don't go to the gym, and I'll take breaks just for my body
Mhm,
to like take a exhale,
mhm,
but it's part of who I am now, and I can't see my
mhm,
life being any other way.
mhm. I love it. I'm learning new things and just what to eat and it's not like a diet. I don't believe in that. It's just more of like making me stronger. Like I just incorporate just like recovery, like you incorporate little things that works and what doesn't work. Like I'm just doing the best I can. I truly believe that. And that's all that I can do is just try to be a good human and leader in all of the things, but also like this was a super vulnerable conversation, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for having me on here.
People need to hear realness. They need to hear that, people in our positions and our leadership that we do fall and we do have struggles and that we use discipline and accountability and our core values to be able to come through that. People think that it's so easy, like, oh, well, I could do what she's doing. I mean, I've seen that a lot, and it's like it takes time and it takes so much effort and it's just discipline. It
Mm-hmm.
really does, showing up and, doing it even when you don't want to.
Mm-hmm. That right there. Yep. And a lot of days I don't want to. I just want to buy a beach house and play with my dogs. So that's coming, but that's what I would love to do. And then coach women via, online. But you got to start somewhere, so that's kind of what I'm doing, and teaching other people how to do it. And I just take my own coaching advice. My mentor yesterday, I was like, we both are coaches, and he has a big business too outside of that. And we were like, we need to take our own coaching advice. We both agreed on it. And I was like, yeah, I know. What the hell? So I'm taking my own coaching, and I think it's just as a leader, in the space too, it's like with the world the way it is right now nationally, it's like we got to keep fighting as well, because if we're not going to do it, who else is? So there is ways to do that, but also have the soul care and taking care of yourself. And that, just like you said, that is my routine. I call it my non-negotiables. I get a monthly massage, a monthly chiropractor, non-negotiables. Like that already comes out of my budget no matter what, because I know my body is beat up from addiction. I lift heavy weights, I run, I don't care. Like I'm going to take care of myself. So they're my non-negotiables is exercise, water, health, sleep. They're all my jam, and I love doing it. And if I stop loving doing it, I'm going to try to do something else, but for right now, that's the season that I'm in.
And it's a beautiful season that you're in. And I want to say that, you are a phenomenal woman. And I'm so glad we sat together for this.
Yay.
So if somebody wants to get in touch with you for business coaching, tell us how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. I'm on Insta, Facebook, Honesty Liller everywhere. And my website's honestyliller.com. So I'm on TikTok too. TikTok's more my fun dancing. I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok really. So I just kind of throw stuff up there, but everywhere. Honesty, just Google me. I mean, there's probably not another Honesty Liller out there, but yeah, I would love to help more women. Again, it's all virtual, my coaching. And if they ever need help with SUD, we take people every day here. We're open every day of the week. So healing families, saving lives. So that's what we do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your honesty.
Yeah.
I can't wait I want to see you in person. Hopefully we can see each other in person soon.
Well, March is the women's leadership. Save the date. I'm going to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, she just put out that email. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
We should go. It's recovery leadership, but yeah, going.
Okay, we're going. All right, we're going. Thank you for being here. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's on a healing path as well, and leave a review so more people can find these conversations. For deeper support, offerings, and resources, visit my website at greenterraholistics.com. Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay true to the unbecoming.